When you go to an ice cream machine, you can choose vanilla or chocolate, but why not both? And that's exactly what this deck does. Fantastic power, great control, and if none of that works, flip it on the opponent's head and start losing in order to win. And that's how I placed top 4 in Houston. Howdy, howdy, American Texan here, and I'm going to show you now a deck walkthrough and breakdown for the top 4 deck that I played with in Houston. But not only that, I actually documented creating the deck. I started with the deck idea of putting together a mainly vanilla wonder deck, like low cost, high power wonders. And you'll watch me build the deck, you'll see me play the first game with the deck, and kind of realize there's some real competitive promise here. And I played a few more games. I didn't get those recorded, otherwise this would have been a 5-hour video, but I did record some commentary in between along with the deck changes that we made, and then summarize how the deck did in Houston. Spoiler alert, yes, I made top 4, and some of the mistakes I made along the way, some of the lessons I learned. You get to see me build the deck in process. You get to see the iterations and some of the thinking that we had between some of the ways that we tested it. And we did play a game. Filizino, shout out to Filizino for letting me record our game. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to tell you right now, I debated not including the game because it is a little boring at times. You know, there's 15, 20 seconds of pauses while we were thinking. So just bear with me on that. But if you want to skip that, the gameplay is about 30 minutes of the video. But anyways, I hope you enjoy this video. I hope it's entertaining to you, but also informing to you, not only on some of how I build decks, but how we iterate decks as well. And, you know, hey, take it to SCG Las Vegas or any of the SCG cons next year, and let's see how you do with it. I'd love to hear what you think. So let's go into the first video where I actually built the deck. This was taken about 14 days before SCG Houston. Is it possible to build a deck that's mainly focused around vanilla wonders? Those are wonders with no abilities, lower cost, high power. Can you build a deck that can actually compete and hold up against a real deck using a strategy of just these high power wonders? I'm going to try to do that today and build a deck using just that. And I thought this would be an okay deck, but the card that I realized could really tune this deck up, I'm very excited to actually put in the deck, and I think it's going to make it actually competitive. The cards we're going to talk about today, you don't have to have a huge memory for, because we're talking about vanilla cards. What are vanilla cards again? They are cards with no abilities. In fact, the only text in the ability slot is going to be this flavor text here in the italic font. Many of these cards are going to be lower cost, higher power, or like a middle cost, like this Abyssal Span Leviathan, 5 cost, 9 power. You've got Ethereal Enigmas, 4 cost, 7 power. But then you also got cards like Patch Squibbler, which is just 1 cost, 3 power. So I'm wondering if there's a way you can build a deck using just these cards. So I'm actually going to log in here real quick, and then we're going to build a deck and see what we can do. All right, so we are here in the deck builder, and if you don't know it, this is the Wonders of the First Codex, where you can come in and build decks, put together lists, share lists, and I'll have a link down below to a video I did walking you through how all this works. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm not worried about points. I'm not worried about DBS score. I'm just seeing, can we put together a deck with just the vanilla wonders? And as always, when I start building a deck, I just throw all the cards I can inside of it. For example, this Abyssal Sand Leviathan is a secondary wonder, which means I can have 3 of them in my deck. I may not end up with 3, but I'm going to start with 3 here just to see just how many I can put in here. Unfortunately, I don't know a great way to search for vanilla wonders. There's no search term for no abilities whatsoever, but all the vanilla wonders have flavor text. So I am going to search for card text that has an exclamation point, quotation marks. That'll at least give me all the cards with flavor text, and then I can come through and try to grab all of the cards with flavor text. So this is Abyssal Sand Leviathan, so we can have 3 of him, and we're just going to go through here and get all of the cards that don't have any abilities. There's a giant Gura Beast. A 9 cost, 13 power. That guy is huge. He's still a secondary too. I'd be scared to live in Umberthine land. You got 3 of those guys walking around. It's going to make things pretty hard to play, so we might have to think about other ways we can cheat him out. Here's good old Patch Squibbler. 11-point wonder. Wow, look at that. So 1 cost, 3 power, meaning if you have Heliosynth Link, then you are going to be able to play him pretty much for free. And here's the Sulfera one, Emberwood Stalwart. I got a great collector pin of him. And then for Patria, we've got Probably the worst name you can have, but look at that face. Igling Rotch, we can have 3 of him as well. I believe that is all of the orbitals covered. We got Thalwind, Boundless, Umbrathine, Heliosynth, Sulfera, and Petria. Now this gives us 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 cards. And you know what? I think we will obviously need one of every of the lands. So what we'll do is we'll look at the lands, and I think, you know what? I was going to say, I think we're just going to want to go ahead and just jump straight to the mythic lands, but not all the mythic lands are needed. For example, Clear Sky gives you double triggers on arrivals, but we're not dealing with on arrivals. So let's hit the lands last. Now, we've got several cards here. We got a 5 cost. In fact, let's go ahead and look at the preview here because we can look at the cost breakdown, metrics, excuse me. So we've got 3 1 cost, 3 6 cost, 3 4 cost, 3 5 cost, and then 3 9 cost, right? It seems like we've got a pretty wide spread of cards here, but also a wide spread of wonders here. Now, the 5 costs and the 9 costs, those are expensive. The Giant Gura Beast, you're going to have to cheat out somehow. One of the best ways I know to do that, and I don't know if I want it in this deck yet, is with Reforge Summoning Platform, which is basically 5 cost, 4 if you have a link, and it'll bring a wonder you own from the Abyss to target realm. So this could give you the Giant Gura Beast from the Abyss and just bring it onto the board for 5 costs. Actually 4 costs, because you're gonna need an Umbrathine link for that one. So actually, yeah, let's go ahead and look at the lands here. So we'll go through the lands. We want all the lands. So instead of looking at them all at once, I want to look at them one at a time. So we got Celestial Heights. Celestium Heights. This is one of the ones where if you have multiples of that card, you play the 3rd one and it untaps. We're not really trying to hit multiple of the same cards. We're trying to hit one of each. So obviously we're going to want the first. So let's go ahead and throw that in here. All right, now let's look at the lands here. And really what we're looking at is what kind of utility. Here on Harvest, opponent's cards each cost +1 energy if played to this realm this round. I like that one. A little bit of disruption since we're really just focusing on our raw power. Could just put a little bit of a handicap on them. Eclipse Enclave, we're running pretty widespread on the colors, so we're not going to do that one. Indra Citadel is a must, right? I think we're going to do 2 of them, and then of course Market I think is going to be a must. Sunfire City, this one could be good because if they get control of our power, that's going to be a problem. So we'll keep that in the background. And then Light Forge is nice to have because you may not have a lot of stones until the very end of the game when you can do some action. So we'll keep that one in the back of our minds there. So maybe we can start with 3 of each. That's going to be a pretty land heavy deck, but I think that could work with the vanillas here. So we don't want the untap when you play a 3rd one. Shield counter could help, but again, there's not going to be too much targeting in our wonders here. Let's see here. Harmonic Canyon Refuge, whenever one enemy wonder attacks in this realm, it gets -2, for every item you control. We're not running item heavy, so we might, but I don't know yet. Put a shield counter on target wonder, still not sure about that one. Reveal the top card of your deck with Heliosynth, still not sure about that one. Talmeca Outskirts gives you Faith, and Mount of Helios is also Faith as well. Yeah, I'm not sure about this one here, so there are some equipments that I'm thinking about, but let's go ahead and grab Resonant Reach, and that one is a primary. And then let's go ahead and put in 1 Harmonic Refuge. Because there's some items I think we should run, but I'm not too sure about that one. So we'll just put that in there for the color. Now, for Petria, of course, we want to have Cedar Shade Ruin. Ethereal Grove could be nice because that's not only is it nice to have, but it still gives you the Petria link even when you see Symbiosis. So I think we'll grab 2 of those, and that might be all we need. I don't think we want to go too Petria heavy. We can get plus in the lands when you play a Petria Wonder. Well, we're pretty wide on that one. This one lets you create tokens, which could be nice, and then Ren Arbor is reveal the top card. So I think we're just going to go with Ethereal Grove and Cedar Shade Ruins there. So Fair is going to be another one like Heliosynth. It's very themed. So let's see. Blaze Home Volcano. Whenever any wonders dies, you may banish this if you do destroy all wonders in this realm. Could be good because I think a lot of realms we're just going to be running 1 wonder. So that could be one. We'll put a pin in that one. Brimstone Crypt on Harvest Kingdom 2. Put a protector counter on target wonder. I like that one just to protect a stone in case we get it. Let's see. Reveal the top card. We don't need that one. Whenever your dragon you control, we don't have any dragons. So here we go. Blazing Phoenix Pub, the mythic Sulfura land. Wonders you control become legendary this round. Then each player may untap a non-land legendary wonder. We're not dealing with too much tapping, so I think we're gonna probably pass on there. Volcanic Wastes, Horde 5, gain an additional action. That's pretty nice, but we're looking at probably a turn 7, like just raw power win. So let's grab 2 Blaze Homes. That way, if one of our wonders gets destroyed, we can at least take some people with us, some wonders with us, and then we'll throw in 1 Volcanic Waste to make it 3. I think we're going to try to shoot for 3 lands. And again, this is the first iteration of the deck, so this is not the final thing. So Clear Sky Eerie, normally that's an automatic include in a lot of my decks, but we're not dealing with a lot of on arrival, so we're just going to ignore that one. Whenever you draw a second card, Thalwyn Wonders get +1. We don't need that one. That's the 3 land card. Iron Citadel, whenever a wonder with flying enters this realm, we're not dealing with flying too much. Whenever a wonder moves in or out, we're not dealing with that. Wave Whisper Bay, I think, is definitely an include, and this might be the 3 that we need. You may look at the top card of your deck, put it back on top or bury it. I think that's the 3 Thalwyn lands that we want. Whirlpool Bay is reveal. If it's Thalwyn, draw it. All right, and then Umbra Theme. This one might be another one. So we got Crypt Reach Province, which is for denying. We got Dark Iron City, which is for denying. Fortress Orcscar. Let's see, 3rd Umbra Land. Okay. On Harvest, if it's that. So I think we might be looking at Twilight Marsh. And let's see, maybe Warfang Fortress, get some Death Strike going. And Witch Warden, I don't know if we're going to be filling up our Abyss yet, so we're going to pause on that one. I think Warfang Fortress might be the play here, because all wonders in this realm get Death Strike. That could be a good way to clear out. Since we're running high power, I think we're going to really be going high power to beat out a lot of places, so this could be a good one to drop and then just hold a realm, even if it's just a threat to not play in that realm. And then we'll throw in, do I want to put in? We'll put in 1 Twilight Marsh. All right, so we'll save that. So that gives us 19 lands. It's a pretty land-heavy deck. But again, these lands all give us benefits for our vanilla wonders, and I think that'll work. Now, here is the linchpin to the deck. So a couple things. We need to figure out how to get actions and possibly figure out how to get energy for Giant Gura Beast. Actions is going to be the tough one because we want to put some power on the board, spread it out a little bit, but then also turn 7, make sure we can attack to get the stones we need to win. But what if we're losing? What if they can somehow beat us out on raw power? Here's my thoughts. I think we look at a card like Stellar Harmony T-Set, if I could spell it. There we go. Whoops. Didn't mean to add it as a token. Let me remove it, and then let's look at the card. So Stellar Harmony T-Set. It is an item. You play it, and then sacrifice free. You and target opponent switch control of all stones. At the end of the round, switch control of those stones again. So here's what I'm thinking. If you're losing raw power in a realm, play Stellar or sacrifice Stellar Harmony T-Set. So if you're losing 2 to 4, you have 2 stones, the opponent has 4 stones. Stellar Harmony T-Set switches it. So I have 4 stones and they have 2 stones. But you switch at the end of the round. So if you're losing on raw power, attack in the realms you're losing to put those stones back on your opponent's side. You lost the battle, the stone goes to them. Then at the end of the round, the stones go back. And so if you're losing when the round ends, the stones switch back. Hey, now you're winning and you won because that was the last set. Now, a couple things to be aware of this card is your opponent's going to have some ways to handle the item. So ideally you want to draw 2 of these. You want to put 1 on the board early and then have 1 so you can go hopefully end round 6 by playing this, having won a battle, and then round 7 start and sacrifice. It's the same thing you need to do with Blazafell. With Blazafell, it's the same thing. It's got to hit the board, and you have to go first in round 7 for it to really make a difference. So I think this is one that we're going to have to be very careful how we play, but I think it will do some good. We're going to go ahead and put 3 of these in here because I think that's our secondary win condition. Now, the other thing we need is actions because we need to be able to save some actions. So we need something that gives us free attacks or free actions. So let's take a look and see what we have to give us some actions. So we have High Lord Valurus Crestwing. He's a little bit of a risky play because it's on play, which means it has to come from your hand. That's a lot of cost. That is a 11 cost, 10 with the link. Banish, and you have to play it from your hand. Banish the top card of your deck. Gain X actions where X is the cost of that card. Worst case, you banish Pat Squibbler. Best case, you banish Gura Beast. He's crazy. So let's go ahead and add him in there. I'm thinking we add that in there just to see, man. That would just be a lot of fun to play. And he's 8 power. You can use that action to fly him around the board and really do some damage. Here's another good one I think works really well in this deck since we're so land heavy. We've got Low Lin. Whenever you harvest 2 or more lands, gain an action. So if we get to round 7, let's say half of our lands are out and half of those are untapped. Round 7, you got 4 lands out, tap them all. That's 4 actions. Then you get 2 more with Low Lin. Plus, you might get an extra action with Indra's or with Market. So this could really be a great addition. And let me tell you, one of the things that I'm liking about this deck, even though it's so wild in the orbital space, so wide, is that it's easy because I can just look for any card I want because I know I'm going to hit a land, or at least try to hit a land. That's going to be the hardest part, is getting the lands you need to match the cards you have. Leek's Paw Song is something that I'm looking at here because it's a Toon Patria, so you could play it down for 1, but if you have Patria, it's basically a free drop. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 of them here, but he's going to be on my short list to cut. Just because if we get that Patria link, he's just a free card. And here's one of the main guys I was looking for, Richard Grumpkin. He's a tough guy to deal with. But on round start, you can tap this, and if you do, when your opponent gains an action, you gain an action as well. So this is a great one to just kind of keep action parity with your opponents, and I think is going to be something much needed for this deck. I'm also eyeing Tony the Tiger. On arrival, you may put a land from your hand into this realm without using an action, and he's attuned. So I'm thinking this could be an easy way to get a land out without using an action. This just gives you another action on top of it to try to either put another land out or try to get into the Stellar Harmony T set if you need to. I'm thinking we add him, but he is pretty expensive. So we'll put him on the short list of maybe cards we need to take out. Okay, so we grabbed all the cards that could give us actions. I think the other card we need is the Battery. And I need to remember what its actual name is because I can't remember its name. My goodness. There it is. I found it. I was like, goodness, we just call it Battery, but no, Gleaming Power Cell. For each energy you lose at the end of the round, put a spin counter, and then on the next one, take the spin counter off. You get that much energy. I think this is required so we can get some energy going for the deck. All right, let's take a look at where we're at here. We're at a 708 point deck. I think that's pretty solid. Now we are at 51 cards. So if we stop right here, we're a card over. We would need to get rid of a card, in which case I would probably get rid of a Link's Paw Song. I'm not sure if I'd get rid of a land. I think we need Stellar Harmony T set and Gleaming Power Cell. And after reviewing this just for a minute, I'm seeing here Giant Gura Beast. He's a pretty beefy boy. He is 9 cost, 13 power. We don't have any other Umbrathine wonders, as well as any other Umbrathine items, and pretty much the only other Umbrathine we have is land. So I'm thinking we actually take out Giant Gura Beast. That'll let us get some more action and energy economy into our deck. It's nice to have Giant Gura Beast, but again, he's 9 cost. Now, he's also not core, but still, he's 9 cost. So let's keep him in the deck. We're going to keep building, keep adding to see what we can come up with. But I think we're going to probably take him out, especially because we can get something like Lightforge that might help us too. So let's keep looking at the cards and see what we might also want to put in the deck. I'm thinking of something like I'm terrible at these card names. I got to try to remember what these cards are called. Here we go. Lamp Luferia. That's what I was looking for. All wonders in this realm are nullified. I think this could be good if you got a card that is getting a lot of power from an ability, but if you can nullify it without nullifying your own, this one could be good. And it is a Heliosynth, which we don't have the best Heliosynth lands. So I'm not sure if this is a great choice, but I think maybe this is pointing to what we need though for the deck, which is control. We need a little bit more control. We need to be able to, I'm thinking, counter spells. We need to be able to nullify. We need to do something to really help us. And I think we could do something like Galactic Sovereign Throne or Sirius Aetherblade, but if we have something like Lamp Luferia where our stuff is affected as well as theirs, that should bring the cost down without affecting us too much. So let's do this. Let's look for anything that has the null here, and let's see what we come up with. So Azure Vault, your lands and items not named Azure Vault can be tapped, targeted, destroyed, nullified, or controlled by opponents or opponents' cards. I think this is a must-have. We've got 19 lands in this deck. We might come lower if we get rid of the Umberthenes, but land's a pretty big part of this deck, so I think we've got to put both of these. Galactic Sovereign Throne, this might just be an automatic include. It's just good power, considering we have this, so we might as well use it. Starburst Mallet might be an item we want to include. We are wonder heavy, so we have wonders we can equip, and it might be a good way to nullify some enemies. So this might be a little bit of where we're going with this deck here. We can put 3 Lamp Luferias in here. I don't know if we need 3 of those. Word of Serendipity, I love to play in my Umberthene Reanimate deck. However, I'm not sure if we want to be discarding cards willy-nilly for here. So we do have Ward and Serendipity. Do we want to? Yeah, we might need that to counter spells. Open the Cosmos, is that what it was? That destroys a lot of, or is Cosmic Cataclysm is one that we want to be very careful with. No, not Cosmic Cataclysm. Open the Cosmos. What's the one I'm thinking of? Get rid of all the cards that aren't legendary. God's Eye Release. There it is. Banish all primary and legendary wonders. Actually, a lot of our wonders are secondary, so we're naturally protected against that. Let's take a look. So here's the great thing about the deck builder is you can actually, for example, I'm trying to think, okay, what spells do I want to protect against? Well, let's just search for spells. Arcane Grasp is one. They're going to want to take control of my items. I'm not too worried about that. I'm not too worried about Cast Out. Catch, they can move my items. Not too worried about that. Cosmic Cataclysm, they can create 4 power angel tokens across 3 different realms, and they gain 2 free attacks. That's a pretty bad spell. And then Corruption Warp, it's not run too much, so I'm not too worried about that. We do have Deconstruct. Doesn't have to worry about that one because we don't have anything we're worried about in being nullified. Desolation might be a little bit of a something to worry about. Enlightenment would actually help us. Energy Extraction is item. There's a lot of spells that are focused on items. Each player loses all but one of their remaining actions. I don't know if we have to be too worried about that. Tap target wonder and untap another target wonder. Not too worried about that one. So yeah, spells are up in the air. Path of Light. Let's see. Nullify all items and lands, including those that arrive later in this round. So that's one we might have to worry about, especially on a round 7. Path of Light, I think, is a sleeper. I think we're going to see a lot of Path of Light in upcoming tournaments. So that's one we're going to have to be concerned about, especially if we're going to be very land heavy. That's one, I'll be honest, this one scares me a little bit with this deck. Rage of the Ancients, I don't think we have to worry too much about that one. Let's see here. Seer's Gaze, we actually might want Seer's Gaze in this deck. Let's go ahead and put 3 in here. Okay, Rends, we might have to be worried. Yeah, let's put in 2 Ward of Serendipities. And let's see. Let's put in 2 Ward of Serendipities. Okay, now we're actually getting some good cards in here, so the point value is going up. And we're going to get rid of Giant Gura Beast. And we're going to get rid of the Umberthene lands. So let's get rid of the Umberthene lands. Looking for the Umberthene lands here. Okay, Twilight Marsh and Warfang Fortress are gone. All right, that puts us at 62 cards. Oh my gosh. All right, Link's Paw Song, you're gone. And Tony. Do we want to keep Tony? We'll keep Tony for now. We've got way too many Ward of Serendipities in here. So there we go. All right, so we got Seer's Gaze for this. Okay, we got these 2. We might just need 2 Starburst Mallets. Let's go with 2 Lamp of Luferia. Let's see here. That takes us under 1,000, which is nice. We still got 56 points, or 56 cards. We might have to get rid of Tony. And also, Tony's only 4 power, so I think we're going to get rid of Tony. And we've got 2 left. I don't know if we want... We've got the Seers, which will help us dig our deck, so we may just need 1 Ward because it's very situational. We've got quite a bit of Nullification. We've got 2 Starburst Mallets and 2 Lamp of Luferias. Essentially, they're doing the same thing. Starburst Mallet, though, let's see, which one's more... We don't even have to worry about cost. This is where I would look at the DBS because they're pretty much doing the same thing for us. But DBS-wise, we would probably just want to go with the cheaper one. But since we're not too worried about DBS, I'm not too worried about those. We've got 3 Boundless, 3 Thalwyn, 3 Patria, 3 Sulfera, 3 Heliosynth, And we've got a pretty wide spread here of the items. I feel like we need more draw too, which is a tough one. Let's go -1 gleaming power cell. I don't know. Do we want to go? I think we just need one. I think we just need two. All right, we still need to get rid of 2 cards here. I don't know if I want to get rid of the Vanilla Wonders. We might get rid of 1 sand, Abyssal Sand. No, man, I don't know. Because I want to keep the vanillas here because I want to be able to really hammer those home. The other thing, too, is now we're adding lots of items. We might want some item protection. But we've got the raw power, so we're not dependent on the items. The items are just helping us get to where we need to go. Let's get rid of High Lord because he's just going to be hard to play. He would be fun to have, but I think we're going to cut him. All right, we need to cut 1 more card. What do we want to cut? Let's see. We've got Patch Squibbler for Heliosynth items. We're actually not running any Heliosynth core cards. So it may be worth killing a Heliosynth land. We could get rid of Harmonic Canyon Refuge. Now that does bring us down to 15 lands. That's still more than average, I think, but it gets us over to 50. So this is the first iteration of the deck. I'm going to see if anyone wants to play with this deck and let's just see what it does. Yeah, let's take a look. Oh, before we do that, we got to name it, right? We're going to call this Vanilla. We'll just call it Ice. We'll call it Vanilla Swirl because it's vanilla focused on the raw power, but it's a swirl. It's got all the different notes in here. I'd say that's a meme deck. And this is an 850 point deck. If I wanted to get it under, let's see, Lamp and Starburst were the 2 that kind of do the same thing. Lamp is 3 points. Starburst is 23 points. So if I got rid of both the Starbursts, that takes it down to 768, which is still it's still close to 750. So I think if you did a Pauper tournament, you could definitely get this deck down to 750. I also like the spread here a little bit better on the cost here. And yeah, I don't know. Let's just take a look and see what it does. So this is the deck. I'm going to see if anyone's up to playing it. All right. Well, this will be interesting.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yep. Good luck.
Off the round. Play the Quill.
Ooh, nice.
End of turn.
I will play the first.
Ooh. Symbiosis, that's an item. Symbiosis the first.
Okay. Okay. I will play Indra's.
I see your Indra's. Amazing Indra's.
Nice. Okay. And we'll go with a Emberwood Stalwart.
Yeah. Action. 3. Let's do that. Got the Comet Cleaver. For 2 and 1.
Oh, very nice. Disrupting my attack. I always think this is a equipment. It is an equipment, but okay, yeah. I got you. But you're just playing it because you can just play it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, then I guess. Let's see here. I guess I'll play an Indra's, the second Indra's.
Nice. Got the 1 energy left. Need to tap something. Yeah, I'll pass.
All right, I will pass. Really thought I was going to come into round 3 with a stone here.
Let's do this. I can't do that. for it? Are we? I try it for 2. 1 action. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lands. That's going to get 5. Plus the cleaver gives it +1, so it's going to go 6.
Let's put out a gleaming power cell.
Nice. 2 energy left. Okay, so we'll go ahead and knock the quill for free. Gain 3 energy. And I will not bury my hand.
We'll Seer's Gaze and draw 3.
Okay. Let's see. Terrafea for 1 and 5.
Ooh, nice.
Put 2 counters on the Barnel. It'll get 2 counters plus an additional 2 counters. Barnel will go up 4. And then Terrafea will put -2 on Stalwart.
Okay.
Cool. And then Symbiosis, since Betraya is 6, Fea will Symbiosis Betraya.
Nice.
And then we'll get +1 for each land. So we'll go 6 plus 5. So
Okay.
yeah, 17.
I am in trouble. Let's see. Let's do a Wave Whisper Bay. Look at the top card.
Is it up to 7?
Bury it.
Up to 6. Got no energy left. 1 action. Use that action to swing in 2.
I pass.
And I pass.
All right. Spin counter goes on the Gleaming Power Cell. We're going into 4, right? Did you already put the stone out?
Yes. Yeah,
I missed
going
it.
in 4.
Okay. Spin counter comes off. And draw.
So another scout in here.
Ooh, man. To think about what I want to. I'm gonna. Oh, I have to do it this way. No, no energy. Pet Squibbler.
Woo. I like patch. Hester here.
Very nice. I will. I'm actually gonna do this. Throne.
Okay, auto levels are nullified. Sweet. Very nice. I'll pass.
Why would you do that?
I knew what you were doing. I knew what you were doing.
I guess I'll attack here.
I'll swing in 3.
Pass.
Pass.
All right, 2 counters on Power Cell.
Whoa. 5.
And 2 counters off of Power Cell.
It's gonna be interesting. So I'm gonna pass.
She would. Let's go with a good old Richard Rumpkin.
Go, Richard. One of my action card abilities in this one. Alright. I'll go ahead and draw a card.
I'll attack here for the stone.
Sweet. Yeah, clear the land here.
We'll do another Power Cell.
Ooh, nice. I'm gonna play Warnoko.
Okay.
I'll put growth counter. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 powers.
I will pass.
Yeah. Four actions or 4 lands. It's a lot of energy to release the. Yeah, I'll pass as well.
Okay. 2 onto each power cell. And then 2 off of each power cell.
Took the stone last. 6.
Oh, and I go first, right?
Yep. I took 5. Nice. Okay, Carlux, since he's on arrival, he's nullified.
Yep. Now, I've got a question. I think we've answered this before. So, with my Sovereign Throne, if I tap it, it says enemies with tap abilities are nullified. Does that nullify your lands with growth counters? Because they're enemies now? And your lands have, I guess, is on Harvest a tap ability?
Harvest is a. Yeah, I think you're right, because enemies are wonders. And let's double check with. I think so. Let's double check on what. Oh, because I got on the other page. You can certainly tap it. Let's double check and make sure if it's a tap action for harvest, then yes, it would be it's a tap ability. Yep, that's a tap free ability. And since they are enemies, back to wonders or enemies.
Interesting. I wonder if I should tap this now. Probably should since I asked.
Probably.
Then you got on arrival stuff. Ugh. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
Yes.
Tap free. So now your arrival stuff works, but now your taps are nullified.
Yep. Taps are nullified. Poop. Gonna do. Yep. And enemy is any wonder controlled by an opponent. played. So these are going to be nullified. I can't use some lands. I'm effectively out of action. Alright, so we got here. 6, 7, 8, 9. Minus 3. Okay. So swing in 6. I don't think I have anything to take that throne out in this deck.
No. I'm gonna attack in 3.
Sweet. Okay. I will draw a card.
Play Ethereal in 6 and Symbiosis my Indras. My Indras, not your Indras.
Since I can't do anything, I'll pass.
I'm gonna harvest the Indras for 2.
Nice. And I'll pass.
And let's play
Nice.
Sand Leviathan here.
Cool. And then I'll pass.
And I'll attack and take that back.
Woohoo! Alright. I'll pass.
And I will pass as well. 2 spins.
7.
And 2 off. And at the round start, I will tap this. So if you do get an action, I'll get an action too.
Cut.
And I will start by passing.
Alright. Fortitude. Fortitude. Okay. Just gonna play the Colossus for 7.
Ooh, okay.
Actually, it's not going to be for 7. My orbital link is shut down, so it's going to be a full 8. Because, yeah, the grove is
Yep, good call.
nullified. So we'll go 12. 1, 2, 12. We'll put the 4 counters on Grumpkin. Kill Grumpkin.
Okay.
And then that is... That's it. An action. Okay. Oh boy.
I will pass.
We just set it all
Ooh,
on
nice.
6.
Pass.
And then we'll what's that for 2?
Yep. I'm gonna draw.
Since I can't pass, I will attack in 3.
I will draw.
Okay, I will pass.
Go ahead and harvest all my lands. 1, 2,
Nice.
3, 4, 5, 6 actions.
8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, did you say 8? I should have 8.
No, so the 2, so you got 4 here, 5,
Yeah.
and then 6. So
Right.
yeah, it gives you the 7.
Yeah, 7. Okay.
All right, I will pass.
Let's just do a Grumpkin there for the
Nice.
power.
Cool. It's gonna get tricky. I will pass.
I'll take the stone.
Okay. I will swing here in 4.
Reset.
Interesting. Pass.
And I will sack the tea set. Whoops, no, not banish, sack it. So we switch control of all stones.
Yeah, so I can't pass.
And
Well,
I'll
actually-
attack.
Well,
go ahead.
actually, I can't. Well, I can't, but I could because it's going to revert back. Right?
Uh-huh.
Like, it's going to revert back first. So it won't matter. Yeah, because if I attack, it's going to pull it, but then it's going to just revert back. So I can't attack. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the play. Alright, we'll see what happens. I'll swing here. Over up here.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll swing in 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'll swing in 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll swing in 4.
Mm-hmm.
And you're on permapass, right? You're not. There's nothing you're gonna do.
Yeah, I got
Throw
nothing I can
anything else.
tap. Yeah.
Yeah. Then that's it. I pass.
Alright.
And stones
So it'll
revert.
be- Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, could you tell
That's
the theme?
wild.
Were you one of the ones that I talked about this about?
No.
A vanilla deck.
Mm-hmm.
So just try to get as much power, raw power on the board, and if all else fails, Stellar Harmony T set.
Yeah. And it worked out.
Yeah, it did.
Worked
Yeah, you know
out.
what? Some of these cards gave me a lot more than I thought. Now, this game would have been totally different if I didn't have the first. If I did not draw that, it would have been a much tougher game. I was sitting on a Sulfura land towards the end. But yeah, that was...
Because it
had
would have
me going for a
been.
minute.
What wouldn't you have been able to play? Oh,
Wouldn't
the
have been
power
able to play
cells.
Grumpkin. Power cells are not core.
Oh, okay.
So the Grumpkin, well, I guess, he gave me some of the lead in the 5, but yeah, that was the only one that really...
Yeah.
Well, the Petrias.
Not too
The
shabby.
Petrias gave me the link so I could play some. But yeah, all right, cool. Well, that was fun.
Sweet. Yeah. That was pretty wild.
Yeah, those Abyssals, I didn't think I was gonna play them. The original iteration had giant Gura beasts, but I ended up taking them out because I didn't think I'd get that much energy. Yeah, just lots of vanilla cards. All the vanillas are in here. It's a full rainbow deck.
It's cool.
So yeah. All right. Well, thanks for playing.
Yeah.
So coming in after that first game, I am very, very pleased with how that game with Filizino. So thank you, Filizino, for playing with me on that one. I think the vanilla idea was a fantastic idea, but as you saw, the biggest decider for that one was Stellar Harmony T-Set. So I am super excited to see this work. Gleaming Power Cell did its thing. Stellar Harmony T-Set did its thing. Azure Vault, I think, did its thing. Galactic Sovereign Throne did its thing. We didn't need Starburst Mallet or Lamp of Luferia. We'll come back to that in a second. And Ward of Serendipity, while we didn't need it, really, I liked having it because I think we had some cards that we could use. Now, as far as the Vanilla Wonders, I think they did the job perfectly. These lower cost, lower power Wonders did fantastic when it came to utilizing the Stellar Harmony T-Set. Lowlin and Grumpin didn't, I always want to call him Grumpkin, like pumpkin. But Richard Grumpin didn't really come into play that much that well. Now, I mentioned in talking with Filizino afterwards, the first was really, I felt like a really not overpowered, but it was really like required drawing. But once we looked at what the board state was, I really didn't need all the links. I had the lands that I needed. Now, I still think we could use a couple more lands here. But also, not only that, I feel like we needed a little bit more card draw, because if I didn't get the exact cards I needed, I feel like I needed some card draw. So I'm wondering, I also don't like just having one of something in the deck, especially if I'm coming against a, not a Quantum Quell deck, but an Angel deck or something that's going to be using a lot of spells. I'd like to have the opportunity to hit a Ward of Serendipity a little bit more consistently. And I'm not sure I need the Starburst Mallet, because the power just didn't seem to be an issue. Now, the benefit of the Starburst Mallet is the Wonder gets +2, and it only nullifies the enemies in the other realm. The benefit of the Lampriferia is I can play it in any realm, and I don't have to worry about being equipped. So since I don't have to worry about power too much because I have the Stellar Harmony T-Set, if I'm losing, I think I'm going to get rid of Starburst Mallet, And the question is, what do I replace it with? I could replace it with another Word of Serendipity. I could also replace it with a couple of Moonfire Crystal Mice so I can get a little bit more card draw. Another card that I'm thinking about replacing it with, just because she's super powerful. Whoops. Well, that's interesting. Let's slog back in. Okay, now I'm back. The other card I'm wondering is Caliph. I'm wondering if I need Caliph Leaf Tracker here just for a little bit of control. She also gives a link, so she acts as a land. But then also she can help me tap or untap an item or a land. So this would give me a little bit more control across the board. And like I said, the other option is to get some card draw with a Moonfire Crystal Mouse. I don't know if there's any other draw mechanics here. Let's see if there's any other draw mechanics that we can use. Blackthorn's not going to really do it. Blindsworth. I don't think we're going to be worrying about hoarding. Look at the top 2 cards of the player's deck, banish any number of them, put the rest in any order, draw a card, and it is attuned. So it's a little bit of control plus a draw, but you're only drawing 1. So, best case, you're paying 1, you're drawing 1, you're getting a little bit of control. That's a good card, but it's also core. I want to try to avoid core. One of the other things that I want to do with this deck is not rely too much on core when I need. So, the core cards, I don't want them to be, so this will sound a little bit weird. I don't want the core cards to be core to the deck. Does that make sense? Like, I want the deck to be able to win without the core card. So if I don't get a Sulfera land, or the first, or an Ethereal to copy someone else's first or Sulfera land, Lowland is not a game changer. Richard Grumpin is not a game changer. Starburst Mallet, we're going to kind of get rid of. Galactic Sovereign Throne, that was kind of necessary, but, I'll deal with that because I think if I do add a couple more lands, I'm going to add some Light Forges. So we'll toy with that in a second. So I'm okay with Galactic Sovereign Throne, but I really want to try to avoid core cards as much as possible. So let's go to the deck. Is Caliph, the other thing, is Caliph a core card? She is not a core card. So I think Caliph's the play, because she technically gives us a couple more lands. So I'm going to take out Starburst Mallet, and I'm going to add Caliph. And the whole reason I'm continuing to do some commentaries, I'm thinking I'm going to release this video after SCG Houston, because that'll be my only tournament to play in this year. I think I'm going to take this deck to the tournament. It's easy to pilot. It's going to be my first tournament to play in for trading cards. I have all of these cards. And I think it's going to be easy to pilot. So there's going to be a lot going on. I want to have something that's going to be easy to pilot. The only card I think I don't have is Low Lit. So I'll have to get that on eBay, hopefully, before the week. So if we add the 2 Caliphs, that brings us up to 814. So we didn't really lose too much there because we got rid of the Starburst. The Lamp I think is going to be better for us because it's not core. It does cost 4 though. But we don't have to worry about equipping. So we can put that in a realm even if there's nothing there. Now, Caliph does also give us 2 more links, so I'm happy with that. And a little bit of control. So I'm pretty happy with that. The other thing too is, I don't know, we may not need Lowland because we didn't really seem too bad on actions. We may be able to take Lowland out and we can try to do something with some card draw. So maybe we could take out Lowland and Grumpin and just get Moonfire Crystal Mouths to try to draw into these other vanilla wonders. That's an option. It could also give us the other Word of Serendipity. So let's see. I wish we had a save state or a copy so I could bring something else in. So let's get rid of Lowland and Richard Grumpin, and let's grab the Moonfire Crystal Mice. Let's add 2 of those. And then let's add 1 more Word of Serendipity. That still gives us around 826. The other option we could have as a backup is, since we have so many lands, we could also throw in a War Noko. Now, I don't want this to become a not vanilla deck. I want vanilla to be the main theme of the deck, but War Noko could be another win condition. So win condition 1 is just straight up raw power. Win condition 2 is the Stellar Harmony Tea set. Win condition 3 could be the War Noko, because we're getting lands. Now we're drawing. Another one that I thought about adding is Razia, because Razia could really help my wonders across the board. What he can do is I can play him for 6 cost or 5. He's attuned, so he helps him with the action economy. And when I play him, I can then tap him for free, give another wonder, one of my vanillas +5. I can give one of their wonders -5. And essentially, I didn't think about this until Capricorn's video, shout out Richie, is this gives you control or manipulation across 3 realms. You're adding 9 in realm 1. You're giving a vanilla wonder in, say, realm 2. I'm just using numbers here. Realm 2 +5 to win the realm. And then you're giving another wonder -5 in a 3rd realm. So this could help my wonders overpower in another realm. I really like that idea. Now the question is, where does Razia come in? Now I only need to replace 1 card. So do I get rid of the Moonfire? Do I get rid of? I really want to have Cedar Shade here. I really like the land spread that we have here. Do I get rid of the ward? And do I still just run 1 ward? That's a tough question. Because if I pull ward, another thing I'm learning is you have to be very careful what cards you stick with. So if I draw into a ward, if I draw my first hand into ward, I'm gonna probably mulligan it because I know I have another one in the deck and I know I have one sitting at the bottom. If I only have 1 ward and I draw it on my first hand, I'm gonna keep it, and that's gonna take up a spot in my hand. And I won't play it until turn 3, probably at the earliest. So this is a tough question. The other thing too is, do I need 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 vanilla wonders? I think so. So do I want to have this card draw, or do I want to have Razia? That's a tough question. Or do I want to have 1? Do I still want to go back down to 1 ward and do the Razia? Or is the Razia not even worth it? Because he's 9 power, so he's essentially doing like what Abyssal is. He does cost 1 extra, but he's also attuned, so he doesn't take an action. I think we run this. I think Razia is being a little greedy. I think we run this. So I'm going to try to do another run and see how this deck goes. Well, my friends, we have some interesting updates. And I'm going to put all this in one video. But I took the vanilla swirl. Actually, I took the vanilla ice cream deck into a few games with our good friends, True Story No Lie. Played 3 games, and I told him, I said, I'm curious how this would hold up against meta decks. We played 3 games against 3 meta decks, and vanilla ice cream won 2 of the games. Went 2 for 3 against meta decks. I am very happy with that. And after looking back at those games, unfortunately we didn't record because I didn't think that this would become. I didn't think that those games would become real strategic planning games. But eventually I wish I did record it because we were talking back and forth. Like, eventually it got to the point where it's like, okay, well, I'm thinking here's my lanes. Here's the different lanes I'm going towards. And True Story would bounce off and be like, yeah, I think you should do this lane, this path, because here's what you can expect out of this deck. It was a really great training experience. I want to get another recording like that, but I just didn't get it. Here's what we found out. Vanilla Swirl, or Vanilla Ice Cream, as the deck was originally called. It performed fantastic. Raw power. These guys here, can I zoom in here? Why am I not able to zoom in? Oh, because I'm not. Here we go. These guys, these vanilla wonders. Holy cow. These guys put up points. They can get Patch Squibbler early. Even Iggling Roch with Iggling Roch, or there was another one, the Ember Pumpkinhead. Those guys can get out turn 2 with the right pairing. These guys put up power and they can hold it. But what we discovered was, if there is a problematic wonder, I don't have a way to. Vanilla Ice Cream did not have a way to deal with it. And that's really how I lost game 2 and almost lost game 1. But overall, power held out, and the T set is a game changer because it really screws with the opponent's
positioning. Not only that, having 3 T sets. Let me tell you, having 3 T sets is a requirement, because in one of the games he kept casting out my T set. He kept taking it out of my deck, but I kept drawing it. I did in the last iteration that you saw in the video. I had Moonfire Crystal Mouse. It was not performing. The card draw just wasn't enough to take up 2 actions. Was not enough. So we figured that we do need action economy. So taking out Lo Lin and Richard Grumpin from version 2 of the deck, we were even though I didn't really get to really play with them, we're still sitting on a lot of energy and not a lot of actions. So we figured out that we actually didn't need Gleaming Power Cell, because I just never ran out of energy. Energy was not a problem. We also played with Empress Aurelia for some wonder control. So I could put her out and then portal a wonder to move it to her realm. This did 2 things. Number 1, it could take a powerhouse out of a realm that I needed. And number 2, if that powerhouse came into Empress Aurelia's realm and I T-set, she's at 1 power. So she's an instant win with T-set. However, again, it takes 2 actions to get that to work. It was just, even though the game that I played her in, I won because of her, it was still not comfortably enough. It was still too situational. It was still too many actions to get her down. So we decided, after talking a lot with True Story, we decided that we need more actions. But another secret power of this deck is the lack of reliance on core cards. All of the vanilla cards are not core. Ignore these because these are new cards that we're adding. All the lands, right? It didn't really matter what lands we got, because the lands were really a bonus. They were not a requirement. Azure Vault, Galactic, Sovereign Throne were nice to have because they just had they were more deterrents than actual help. In fact, Azure Vault needs to come. We discovered it needs to come out early. Warden Serendipity, we decided to go ahead and keep 2. Lamp of Luferia is still iffy. It's still kind of iffy. It's nice to have the nullification to deal with some wonders without necessarily removing them, but it didn't come in handy as much as we wanted it to, as much as I wanted it to. So 2 things that we discovered. Also, Kalith, Rockstar. Kalith was a rock star. She helped me untap lands that I needed, as well as tap lands that the opponent needed. So she was a rock star. What we realized we needed was sometimes the power that the Vanilla Wonders were putting up were good, but if I didn't get enough Vanilla Wonders out, then it didn't matter, because they could just overwhelm the board, and I just didn't have control of too much. And so actually what we did was we decided to go ahead and in the next iteration of the deck, we're going to try Razia. Because what Razia can do is, number 1, it's a 9 power. Now, the negative is it is core, but we are running quite a few Patria lands. We've got Kalith with Patria Link. We've got the First. We've got Sheeter Shade, and we've got Ethereal Growth. So we're hitting Patria Link most games. But what Razia can do is, number 1, it's attuned, so I don't need an action to play him. Number 2, he's 9 power, so he can hold a lane on his own. Number 3, he can give something +5, so he can turn Patch Squibby to an 8 power. Hello. And he gives another wonder -5. So he can give, say, Igling Roch is contesting against a 6 power or maybe even 8 power. That -5. Now, imagine these are 4 lanes here. Well, now Pat Squibbler gets 8 power. Igling Roch, their lane gets -5 power. And Razia is holding his own lane at 9. So we're going to run Razia. We'll see how Razia does. Another way to save actions. Again, Tony the Tiger. And this is where having the original Vanilla Ice Cream at such a low DBS helps, because we have some headroom to add power cards like this. He's not core. On arrival, he can put a land in my hand. So one of the things we had issues with was I had plenty of lands to play, but I had to use an action to play them. So even though they even out, right? It's an action to play, but then you get that action back. You're still kind of even the playing field. So if I can get Tony out, he's a modest 4, so he can either run a lane or he can set it up for T-set. He's not core. He's a tuned Patria. So if I can get the Patria land out,
then he's a free action, and helps me get a land out as well that I'm holding in my hand. So he's a pretty nice win-win there. We're gonna experiment with him, and then we're gonna try a Luminous Scarab just to put a little bit of pressure on opponents' lands. Lands are pretty powerful right now, so this will help us kind of just have a little bit of a deterrent. And he's not core. If I can get a Heliosynth link, then he's only 4 cost, and he's got 6 power. We're finding that 5, 6, 7 power is great to have because it either runs a lane or they can beat it, and then we can T-set, and this gives us a little bit of both worlds where we can run a lane, or if they beat it, then we can T-set. So it's not an obvious and or. Whereas if I play something like a Squib in a lane where like someone's got 12 power and I play a Squib with 3, they know I'm planning to T-set. This gives me a little bit more, just a little bit more flex, okay? Now, another one we're going to do, what we also kind of talked through was once a card that has on play is played, after that, it's essentially a vanilla card. So Giant Hydra Jelly can help me with my action economy by taking away a player's action economy. So I can play this for not core, but if I have the Thalwind link, then it's only 3. Gives me 5 power right in the middle where we want it. And I can it helps my action economy by affecting their action economy. So I have a way to get ahead on actions with some attuned cards. I can get ahead on action by tapping one of their lands, as well as putting one of my lands out, nulling one of their lands. We actually thought about putting more than one Lumina, but just because of DBS, look at this. The DBS right now is 1,000. Amazing with what we have right here. But I can't take away Razia and put another Lumina because Razia is 5 DBS and Lumina is 50. So, we're going to have to be a little interesting there. So anyways, so Giant Hydra Jelly is nice because once I play him, or her, yeah, I think, let's say the top one's a boy, the bottom one's a girl. Then once I play them, they're pretty much vanilla. So happy with that. All right. Now lands. Since we're not running, we took out Ember Stalwart to make room for these new wonders. So we don't have any Sulfuras. So we don't need any Sulfuras. We decided to add a couple items. So we decided to go ahead and run Harmonic Canyon Refuge because we can stack up some items in a lane and Harmonic Canyon Refuge just to get a little bit of manipulation there. Resonance Reach, I think we added another one. And then we also added a Sunfire City just for a little bit of protection because there seems to be a lot of Arcane Grasp out there. Some other ways to get control of some of my stuff. So this just lets me get it back. Now, the items. Stellar Harmony T-Set, Azure Vault, Galactic Sovereign Throne. These, when they were useful, they were very useful. Ward and Serendipity, when it was useful, it was useful. Lamp of Luferia is still the one I'm not sure about. How many DBS do we have here? Let me back out. How much is Lamp DBS wise? So Lamp's only 3, so I can't take out a Lamp and put Lumina. So that is what it is. So these items, are good. And then we also added an Arcane Grasp because another thing, in addition to not being able to manipulate wonders, is to manipulate items. So we want a way to get a hold of items that are problems, and this is a great way to get rid of it. Not core, low power. This is a great card. So this is our vanilla deck, and I'm renaming it Vanilla Swirl because we took the vanilla idea and we're adding a little bit of a swirl. So we're going to take this to another game, and I'm wondering if what we're really going to have to test is, do we need more Patria? So, for example, if Razia doesn't work out, do I replace him with a Patria land? But then if I replace him with a Patria land, then Razia might work. So maybe we take out Lumina. I don't know. Maybe we take out Giant Hydra Jelly. But anyways, will these new Patria wonders help? And will Arcane Grasp help? So this is, I'm telling you, the last iteration going 2 for 3 against meta decks, I'm very happy with. So we're gonna continue testing this. This might be my Houston competition deck, which you won't know until after we're done. All right, so here we are after Houston, and this deck got me to top 4, and I am very happy with how it performed. I lost in the top 4 to Sneaky Joe. I think I put up a pretty good fight. He just had the right combo of cards, and I'm not saying that's luck. I think that was all skill on his part to have an answer to my answer to his answers. So really it came down to having the right cards, but also piloting the deck. But I'm very happy with my loss. I learned a lot in this competition. So what I'm going to do here is just quickly go through the brackets, the games that I played, and I'll make this deck list public so you all can see it because I think I had fun with it. But I've got another deck that I want to take to the Vegas competition. So the big key cards that actually came out that actually surprised me. Number 1 was Lumina. Lumina basically just helped me destroy in one game. It was a feel bad kind of game, but it is what it is. Eagling Roch put up a lot of power because I was getting pretty consistent Betrayal Link. So for 2 cost, 6 power was really good. Patch Squibbler didn't perform that well like he did during testing. Almost makes me wonder if I should run Sky Jelly instead. And Ethereal Enigmist and Abyssal Sand Leviathan, they were pretty expensive, but they put out power. So usually once those hit a realm, the opponent basically gave up the realm. So there's a lot of mind games here that these work with really well as well. Giant Hydro Jelly was a nice surprise because they kind of felt like I was playing a vanilla deck or a Petriad deck. So when Giant Hydro Jelly landed, it caught him by surprise. Same thing with the Lumina Scarab. The lands were fantastic. Wave Whisper Bay, I love that land. That might be my favorite land. I want to get a pre-slab of that land. Cedar Shade, didn't because again, once things hit the board, the only thing I need to protect is Kalith, Razia, and Lumina. So unless I am sure of where that's going to go, Cedar Shade just almost always didn't really make a huge difference. Resonance Reach was a sleeper hit. I ended up using that almost every game because having a shield on key cards within realms really just helped, again, lock it down by giving me the power, so they didn't even bother going for it because they couldn't remove the Wonder. And Sunfire never came into effect. Now, here's the hot take. Here's the interesting thing. Are you ready for this? In all of the Swiss rounds, except for 1, so I should say in 4 out of 5 Swiss rounds, I did not need the T-set. Let me repeat myself there. 4 out of 5 games built around the T-set and Vanilla Wonders did not need the T-set. I can't believe it. And even then, I'm not sure I used it in the top 4 either. In the first top 8 game, I don't think I needed it. And then in the second game, again, Sneaky Joe was just ready for it. So he didn't give me a great opportunity to play it. When I was about to play it, he ended up taking all my actions, and that's just what it was. But T-set was nice to have. Vault, Galactic Throne, Lamp, and Ward of Serendipity. These, the sum was greater than its parts. I'll show you in one of the games I played a very portal-heavy deck, and it was very tough to get around. And then I played them again in the top 8, and I was ready for it. I knew I needed to get out Throne and Ward, and then Azure Vault to basically protect those items. So these 3 here, it's almost like the power 3. Azure Vault, Galactic Throne, and Word of Serendipity. You get those 3 things out, you are gold. I mean, that just totally shut the deck down because you could not control where my stuff was going to go. Lamp was a lot of fun to play. It was very surprising. I think it even caught Sneaky Joe on surprise because I had an empty realm. He had 2 wonders there with tap abilities, and I ended up lamping, and I think he had to call an audible based on what he was trying to do. So I'm proud of that. And then we got the Seer's Gaze, which is great to draw into what I need, and the Arcane Grasp helped. It was more for control, more just to give me your item and then sacrifice it, than it was to actually get utility out of the item. It was more just to get it off of their board. So this was a great deck. I'm very happy with that. Let's go into the results here. So this was my Swiss placing. I ended up placing 6th. Let me go into the games here. Now, what's interesting is cardio is messed up for some reason because I did not play Capricorn in the first round. I played Cytec, and that was the game. I lost that first game, and I was kind of like, okay, well, here we go. I'm going to go on a losing streak. And so I guess Sneaky played Capricorn. I don't know why our games are switched here. But I did play Cytec, and he ended up taking the win. And basically, he was just portaling my stuff, and then Stealthy Spriggan would make me sacrifice it. And so it was a very tough deck to play with, and I just could not get ahead of it. So that was a big learning experience. And number 2, game 2, I don't remember too much. I played Unique Flamingo. I can't remember who that was, but I won. So that's all I remember with that one. Game 3, I played Moop Dad. This was the feel bad game. Moop Dad was a champ. He certainly was the talk of the town because he played Stonefoil in his deck, which was just awesome to see. Everyone around us stopped and was like, "What are you doing, man?" But again, Scarab shut it down. I got a Scarab out on turn 3, and then he only had 1 land. I nulled it, lost his Orbital Link, and he just could not catch up. I even had an Arcane Grasp because he got out a Gleaming Power Cell, and I had an Arcane Grasp ready to take it on round 6 to totally just get rid of his plans for the future, but he just could not get a land out. And so that was kind of a feel bad game, but Moop Dad took it in stride. Game 4 here was against Dr. Bray. Now, Dr. Bray was fun to play with because he also had a T set. And what I did, he played his T set and sacked it. And then I played my own T set, and I never sacked it. It was just a threat. But the threat alone really threw things off. And then I think we ran to time on this one. I'm not positive. And he couldn't catch back. So I won that game. And then the 5th game... Oh, no, here we go. The 5th game was against Cytech. I don't remember. Did I play Richie? I don't remember playing Richie in round 1. That's weird. Okay, so the 5th game was where I played Cytech, and he did all the portaling nonsense. And so that's where I was like, man, I just cannot catch up with this. So round 1, I played Capricorn. I don't remember that game at all. What was Capricorn playing? Anyways, so then we went into single elimination. We got top 8. I was super surprised, super happy, and I played Cytech again. I went right into that game. And that was, again, coming right off of that last game. I kind of knew what his deck was supposed to do, so I really dug hard for those items that I mentioned. Galactic Throne to stop his arrival portals, Ward and Serendipity to counter his portal spells, and then Azure Vault to protect my items. And he just couldn't get ahead of me, so I ended up winning that one. And then, like I said, I played Sneaky Joe, and man, it was I think it was a close game. Now, if you ask Sneaky Joe, he'd probably be like, nah, I had that game in the bag the whole time. But it was a lot of fun to play, and it really came down to I was too heavily reliant on my actions. If he had not taken my actions, then I definitely could have taken the game there. So the way he won, I'll show you. I was ahead on actions, and I had a T set in my hand. Once you get to Sneaky Joe's level, you don't not only know your board, their board, your hand, but you also know their hand and kind of what they're playing. So I think he knew what I was playing. So Sneaky first played a Path of Light. So this round, nullify all items and lands, including those that arrive later. Obviously, I cannot let that be played because that nullifies my T set. So I countered it with my ward. I discarded a card and countered it. So Sneaky was pretty much ready for that. He even said, like, "You're gonna counter this," and I was like, "Yeah." So I discarded it. Now, what I don't know if Sneaky expected, I had another ward in my hand. And so, I cannot let Path of Light. Because remember, Path of Light is a secondary, so he can run more than one, and he probably was running more than one. So I knew he probably had another one in hand, so I went ahead and played a second Ward of Serendipity to prevent that Path of Light from coming out. Now, at that point, I think I only had like 2 cards in my hand. So if I had to discard another card, the only card I had left was T-Set. But this is where Sneaky, he knew what to do. He had an answer to my answer to his answer, and that answer was Murkmire. So Murkmire Incarnate, he played it on arrival, tap all lands. So all the lands were tapped. He had some elves out, so he could still get a couple of actions if he needed, but he tapped all my lands. So therefore, I did not have enough actions to play the T-Set, sack it, and then attack to get the stones. I think I was 1 or 2 actions short. So, he knew exactly what he needed to do and the answers to have. After the game, I was wondering, well, if he played Path of Light and I countered it, and then instead of the second ward, what if I tapped my lands? Well, then he would have played the second Path of Light, and he would have nullified my T-Set if I played it. So I would have had more actions, but I didn't have the cards in hand to put more power on the board, and I would have still lost the game. So that was such a fun game to play, and it was a huge learning experience. So I'm very excited for that. So there you have it. There is Vanilla Swirl, the deck there. And let's see. There you go. So that's the Vanilla Swirl deck. I'll put this up public. In fact, let me do that now. Oh, I guess I got to go to Edit, Settings, and we'll make it public. And I'll say top 4 Houston. And do we want any of these? Yeah, we'll make market. So there you go. That's how you can make it and go see it. So you can go, now you can go into decks and you'll see it in the community decks. And then you can copy into TTS and you can play my deck. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this helped. I hope it wasn't too boring. I know this was a super long video, but I hope it helps you see some of the deck building process, have some fun, see just how powerful those vanilla wonders are. And yeah, anyways, I don't do too many deck videos or gameplay videos, but this is all that in one. So thank you guys for watching. Like this video if you like this video. If you didn't like this video, I only take you seriously. No. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, hit like on the video. If you didn't like the video, I only believe you if you hit the dislike button twice. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Adios.